as a result of the effect the drug has on their thought processes and behavior. Economic related crime. These are crimes where an individual commits a crime to fund a drug habit. These includes theft and prostitution. System related crime. These are crimes that result from the structure of the drug system. They include production, manufacture, transportation, and sale of drugs, as well as violence related to the production or sale of drugs, such as a turf war. Drug-related crime may be used as a justification for prohibition. Individual commits a crime to fund a system-related crime. These include only crimes because of prohibition. System-related. In addition, some consider even user-related and economic-related aspects of crime as symptomatic of a broader problem. So to discuss this very, very important, I will say problem now, because it's a problem, it's a disease, it is something which has to be cured, which has to be cleared, which has to be removed right now. It's, although we are quite late, but if we will not do now, then we will be very, very late. Now, to discuss this very important aspect of drug and crime, we have a very elite, well-informed, those who are authority in this topic, in this subject, our panelist. And I would like to invite my first panelist. He is Dr. Thomas Kharia. Dr. Thomas is the director of EcoLink Institute of Wellbeing, Mangalore. He is the director of autumnminds.com. He is the founder director of Link De-Addiction Center, Mangalore. He has done doctorate in counseling and psychology. He is internationally certified addiction counselor level 2 with certification from Global Center for Credentialing and Certification, GCCC, UK and Colombo Plan. Also as a journalist, he was awarded the Best Reporter of the Year 2000 by an international Asian news agency. One of his recent reports on Easter Sunday, Sri Lanka was rated among top 10 reports in United States in 2019. Written and published nearly 800 news articles and features on various issues in electronic and print media. Authored a book on the impact of alcoholism on the poverty conditions of the daily wage earners. Welcome, Dr. Thomas Kharia, on our show. Dr. Thomas, you are very much involved in this de-addiction of the drugs-related problems and those who are drugs addict. And you are seeing every day, and I know when I met you once or twice, you always talk and you always wanted that we should raise this problem and this thing in the society. We are trying, and we have already raised 2-3 episodes we have already done. But every time, whenever we do, news comes after that episode, and we always find that new ways have been found by the drug smugglers, criminals, drugs, those who are harming our generation, the youths. And this is boiling the, I think, of everybody's blood, who are anybody who is reasonable. Now, being in this work, in this field, we would like to know your views on drug and crime. Dr. Thomas Kharia, please.
Yes, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Lal Goel, for your long introduction about me and about drugs also. I think you have touched upon almost everything about drug abuse, and it makes our work a little more easier, definitely. No, we don't need to touch upon so much about the technical aspects of drugs, I think. Yes, today's topic is drugs and crimes. Whether we like it or not, we have to accept the fact that there is a strong link between drugs and crimes. Maybe that is why anything related to drugs, it is sometimes seen as a criminal activity, and a lot of people attach drug abuse with crimes. Now, last 10 years, I've been working at the international level with the Colombo Plan and then UN. And you may notice that even UNODC, like United Nations, have named its office for drug prevention as UNODC, means United Nations Office of Drugs and Crimes, which shows that both the topics go together. And now, definitely, everyone knows that both the things coexist. And many countries are fighting this menace of drug abuse. They're waging war with substance use disorder in the world. And it is very sad to say that even the superpowers in the world are stuck with no answer how to go forward. Like, you may not even believe that no, even United States of America, which is supposed to be one of the supermost powers in the world, 50,000 people die of drug overdose there every year. It is something very, very difficult to believe that people die of drug overdose itself. Means, as Lal Goel has already pointed out, drugs actually affect the youth mainly. And when a country is losing its youth population, you know how far we can go. So this is a world war. In fact, it is something which all of us are involved. All of us have to fight together to do something about drug abuse. I have been working in this field for almost 3 decades. Initially, I was working with the drug treatment here as the director of Linked De-Addiction Center here for 18 years. After that, I was working in the international level. And I worked in Afghanistan also for 2 years. I was in charge of the coordination of the treatment program there, drug treatment program and drug prevention programs there. And I have observed with my own eyes how much actually opium becomes a center of the wars there. Almost daily, you hear about the bomb attacks and the different, even terrorism. Everything is fought with drug money and opium. And that is where we need to discuss about topics like drugs and crimes, because this is something which we have no answer. Last 2 years, we were very much worried about this small virus called corona, and then it has almost conquered the entire world. But now we were able to come out with some sort of a vaccine, and then there is some hope that we can conquer this epidemic also. But drug abuse, so far, we have no vaccine, and there is no way, like, no, people are every year, actually the problem is increasing only, it's not coming down. And now when we speak about drugs issue, there are two things basically. One is drug demand reduction, and the other one is drug supply reduction. I am personally involved in the drug demand reduction field, and drug supply reduction is something to do with criminal justice system, law enforcement system and all. I thought that there would be someone from that particular department to come and speak to us about the supply reduction part. But anyway, unfortunately, he couldn't make it because of a death in the family. And so I would try to cover a little bit about both the aspects also. And when we say we have drug demand and drug supply reduction, we also have to understand in the world of drug, there are legal drugs and illegal drugs also. Just because certain drugs are legal, it doesn't mean that there is no crime attached to it. As Lal was already saying, alcohol, tobacco, and all, it's called legal drugs because it is available in the open market and we pay a tax to government. So it is called legal drugs. And illegal drugs are no heroin, opium, LSD, cocaine, all those things are called illegal because we don't pay a revenue, we don't pay tax to government. And it is available not in the open market, it is available only in the black market. That's all the difference. Whether we take legal drugs or illegal drugs, it will definitely lead people to crimes. There's no doubt about that. Now, alcoholism, just see about alcoholism. We hear every day, if you take newspaper, nowadays everybody is listening to TV, you come across at least 3, 4, 5 criminal things about alcoholism alone, how much it is perpetuating domestic violence, all of us know. Even just yesterday evening, I was watching TV. I saw that one 20-year-old child has killed his mother just for a trivial reason, like she didn't prepare sambar for the dinner. Just 20-year-old child. I just read that. I mean, I heard that news yesterday evening in the TV. And he was addicted to alcohol and drugs already. He was not in the senses what he was doing like. And 2 days back, I heard a father killed a son. That is also related to alcoholism. So alcohol also perpetuates a lot of crimes, so much actually, maybe much more than anything else in our society we can very well know. And when we speak about illegal drugs, there is no doubt about, because illegal drugs are illegal. First of all, the trade, the sale, the trafficking, everything is illegal. And so it is definitely criminal activities. And in many countries, like I have visited at least 25 countries in this particular connection and drugs prevention program. And in most of the countries, almost 80% of the drug dependents who come for treatment, they are coming directly from the prisons, because they have been already in the prison and they are involved in one or the other crimes. Even drug peddling is a crime. And then maybe under the influence of drugs, they must have got into robbery or murder or anything like that. No, so it is so much into also crimes, and they come for treatment. And see, like last month, we have observed International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking on June 26th. I wonder why, I don't know, Lal Goel organized a drug seminar on that particular day. Anyway, so anyway, we are doing it now. And in that particular occasion, UNODC have come out with the World Drug Report. Every year they come out with World Drug Report in connection with the International Drug Awareness Day. So in this year, the report shows that there are 275 million people have used some sort of illegal drugs in the last 1 year in the world, no, in the world, 275 million people. Out of that, 36 million people are addicted to that, totally addicted, and then they require treatment. They also have come out with some other revealing facts, like now during this pandemic, the maximum substance which was used was cannabis. Earlier, which was never considered even as a very serious drug, but now the use of cannabis is going very high in the world. It is almost doubled in the last 1 year, according to that report. And then another substance which people abuse so much is prescription drugs, which are available in the medical stores itself, and synthetic drugs. So for everything, there is a substitute available in the medical stores now. So people go for that. So these are some of the new trends in the field, which we need to address like that. Similarly, last year, when the World Drug Report was released in 2019, so they have mentioned one particular trend, like India is being identified in that World Drug Report as a safe transit route for drug use, for drug trade. There are many reasons for that. At least three reasons I can spell it out. One is, of course, the geographical position of India is in between Golden Crescent and Golden Triangle. Golden Crescent is Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Iran, and the Golden Triangle is Myanmar, Thailand, and Laos. So those triangle was used to be one of the big drug producing center earlier, but now Afghanistan has taken over that position. Almost 90% of the heroin or opium products for the whole world is coming from Afghanistan now, and it is coming through India. There are lots of seizures now. Lal was saying about 2,500 crore worth of drugs being seized in Delhi. It reveals like India is being used as a transit route. There are two reasons. One is the NDPSA Act, like Goel was mentioning about that, is a little bit lenient when we compare it with other countries. Like most of our neighboring countries, if they are caught with the drugs, they are either hanged or they are finished off. Like capital punishment is there. Is very strict rules are there in other countries. But in India, still people can escape. Even if they are caught and put in the jail for their lifetime also, still they would have earned a lot for five generations. So they like to take the route of India for, because of that safety, what they enjoy from the legal system also. Government, I mean, police is doing their job definitely, but we don't have a very strict rule even now actually to deal with the drug related crimes. Of course, crimes are seen differently, but drug trade itself, I am telling. And then another reason is, of course, India's population, huge population and huge unemployed population also. The easy way to make money, like, no, for people is getting to drugs, use, no, do the drug peddling, and you get a lot of money out of it. So people are getting attracted to that. And then I worked in this field for a long time. I know, like, know how they catch hold of youngsters and spread the drug network. It is like network marketing, no, like there are many companies which comes out with the network marketing concept. You catch one, no, you each one catch one, or each one catch two or three, like that. No, that is a system which they are using. The moment they get a student from a particular university or college or something, and that student is first made to consume drugs, and they make him addicted to that, and then he will have no money to buy it, and then this offer is given: you bring another person, we give you a free dose. And that's how, no, it grows, no, like ultimately whom are the police catching? These are the people. By the time they are caught, they are also already addicted to that, and only addicts are being, no, actually used as a drug peddler also. So this is how the system develops, and then everyone in the drugs world is linked to so many other people, like, no, in this, that's how it spreads. It's very dangerously, it is spreading into a lot of youngsters. And already many developed countries have actually found it very difficult to address this issue, and they can address all the other issues, but this issue they are becoming very. So what is possible and feasible now is prevention. And prevention is, I mean, that role relies with all of us. And then we don't need to see a drug peddler if he's addicted to that. We have to see him as a person affected by the disease of addiction. So it is a psychoactive substances. It affects our nervous, I mean, CNS, no, central nervous system, and that's how people behave in different way. They get into crimes and things like that. But there is a person behind. That person has to be accepted as a person with dignity, a person with a disease, and then we need to definitely treat them with that way. We don't need to socially isolate them. Social stigma is one of the reasons why people are not scared to go for even treatment. So let us work more closely with the drug prevention program, drug awareness programs through universities and, colleges, and save our youth as much as possible. Like, that is a role which we can do. And these kinds of seminars will definitely give a opportunity to share our facts, and then for people to discuss this. Thank you, Goel, for giving me this opportunity. So I end here. Of course, later, any questions, I'm ready to answer to that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Thomas Karia, for giving your views, and not only views, the details about the drugs and crime. I would just like to highlight what he has said, few of them. First thing, he says that drugs and crimes are linked together. You cannot separate them. And he said even the United Nations, because they have put the name of the office as UNDNC, that United Nations Drugs and Crime. So it clearly shows that how seriously drugs are is creating the menace in the crime world. So he says the drugs are the such thing where there is no vaccine. We have already developed, and rather we are in putting nowadays the vaccine for the COVID, but for the drugs, there is no vaccine, no antidote, which can stop the drug menace. Yes, drug de-addiction centers are there, but that is afterwards, after the person become addict. So we have to stop at the very beginning so that no one should be drug addict. And he said about he mentioned one thing, rather he tried to blame me that why I have not kept on the 26th of June, the drug abuse day. Yes, Dr. Ruxana reminded me. She also was shocked, I will not say surprised, like you, that why I have not kept that thing on that day. She reminded me. I said, because all the Saturdays have been blocked for an international conference, and in advance, at least 1 or 2 months advance, all the international panelists are to be booked So already there was an international conference booked for the Saturday, and that's why, because the 26th June, I still remember, was on Saturday, and that's why we could not keep, and that's why we wanted to do it. And as you mentioned, yes, today one of our panelists who is dealing with this particular thing, because he's a ACP in the Mumbai police. He was supposed to be here today, and he was dealing with the drugs very closely, because he was posted for almost 15 years in the crime branch in Mumbai, which was dealing with all these things whenever there is a crime. And the crime and drugs, everybody knows, very close related. But due to, and unfortunately, all of a sudden I received a message in the night, there is a death in his family, so he could not participate. So no problem, Dr. Thomas has taken care of all those aspects which is required. He also mentioned about the golden crescent and golden triangle, how Afghanistan is producing the drugs, and 90% of the drugs are coming to India. Like yesterday's catch of 2005. This is a tip on iceberg. It's not something very big. This 2,500, I'm sure our panelists will agree, is nothing. The amount of drugs which are coming to India is far, far, far more. I still remember one of our conference, one of the panelists who was director of this Gujarat region for the in the narcotics department. He only mentioned that our total average catchment is about 4% of whatsoever the drugs are coming to India. Now one can imagine 4% or 5% is nothing in what is happening today. So this is the condition. And he also mentioned that our laws are very weak. He says laws are there, but implementation of laws are weak, because either they will get some lifetime imprisonment, so it makes hardly any difference because they have already earned money, or with the help of lawyers or the judiciary, the case linger on, and it ultimately it comes either the acquittal or a very less punishment. While in other countries, according to Dr. Thomas, they will be executed. They have to be either hanged or death penalties there. So it's a very, very hard punishment there. While in India, it is not there. That the punishment is there, the law provides, but the implementation is weak. Last time also, I remember the same director of the narcotics, former director of narcotics bureau, he said that we have all the laws, but because the criminal, they engage the top lawyers, they engage, and then it is a linger on in the criminal process. So that is one of the reason. That's why India. He also mentioned about India's population. Although I disagree with Dr. Thomas, we can see our neighbor China. In up to 80s, China was called as a opium country. There the people are addicted. They were doing nothing. They were only consuming opium and not doing nothing, and they are relaxing, and they were good for nothing. And now China is #1 country in the world. Where is opium? So the population of China is more than India. So it's something wrong, as Dr. Thomas says, either the law or whatsoever, some will, political will, something is lacking in our country. But that is, but there is definitely one more population. It's very difficult to control, but one has to come out with something. One very interesting point which Dr. Thomas has raised is, he says the drug syndicate works like MLM, multi-level marketing, or in other words, networking marketing. See, these MLM, at one time, I still remember, Mumbai police banned them. And I was not knowing at that time what was the reason. But afterwards, they says because the drug cartel is using this MLM. And I was shocked how they are using. So nowadays also, whenever somebody approach me to take some scheme of MLM, I always say, please don't be involved. This is very risky thing. You will lose your money. And it ultimately, it's nothing but a drugs money which is going to be there, because they are collecting the money. They put it in the drug business. And the drug business, if it is going on, they are paying you doubling your money, everything. But the day the drug business fails, or somebody catch hold, or the greed comes, they stop. So you will be nowhere. So you will lose the money and you will be getting the drugs in lieu after some time, as Dr. Thomas says, and you will become a drug addict. So this is a very, very important point, and I'm sure of the government and especially the economic departments or the economic offense department or the narcotics bureau should see any MLM which is working in India, although many states have banned MLM, but still they are working. They should be stopped because they are nothing. They are putting their money in drugs, so to multiply and making young generation drug addict. So all these things, and in last he says that prevention is better. If we will not prevent, then it's going to be very, very difficult even to cure, because there is no cure except you are going to put them in de-addiction center. And how many de-addiction centers are in India? We have so many drug addicts, but we are not having sufficient de-addiction centers. And for my knowledge, I would like to, because I am sure that Dr. Ruxana will mention, can give my reply, or Dr. Thomas, that de-addiction centers are not being supported wholeheartedly even by the government. So those NGOs who are running it, they are also doing it with their own funds, many times, with their own efforts, without any proper support. While this de-addiction center is a very, very important thing to at least cure those who have become addict. Thank you very much, Dr. Thomas, for giving such a revelations, for the new revelations, I must say, I'm sure the viewers have also come to know. That is the purpose of our media conference, that we try to bring those experts who are expert in these fields, but we are not aware. We are only seeing what is coming in the newspapers or the national media. They are not touching the core reality, which we try to bring out by bringing experts like Dr. Thomas and Dr. Ruxana. Thank you very much, Dr. Thomas, for your views once again. Now I would like to invite my next guest, and she is Dr. Ruxana Hassan. Dr. Ruxana Hassan is a renowned psychologist, trainer, coach, motivational speaker, a special educator for early childhood education and development, a specialized counselor for the drug abusers and alcoholic with an experience of 28 years in rehabilitation center. She holds a PhD in social work and humanity from USA. She is postgraduate in Master of Arts from Mysore University, postgraduate in diabetic health educator from St. John's, Bangalore, and postgraduate in human rights, New Delhi. Her second PhD from Mother Teresa University in counseling psychology. Presently, she is doing her third PhD in applied sciences from Rajasthan University. Sometimes I joke with her, how many more PhD you are going to take, or you want to go in the Guinness Book of Record for holding maximum PhDs. But that is this shows her commitment. Otherwise, one PhD, people are feeling that one PhD is more than enough. Third PhD, and this is not an honorary PhD, she is doing seriously the PhDs. She completed her research in a project about CSW in Bangalore city under Women and Child Development, Government of Karnataka. She has done research about addictive personality, child's development psychology, CDP. It was done with the Children of Observation Home Boys, Government of Karnataka. For the outstanding service towards humanity, she was awarded Indra Priyadarshini Award. She is the nominee of Kittur Rani Chennamma, Government of Karnataka, as the best social worker. She was awarded by Art Mantram, Bangalore, for Go Green Bangalore. She won Women's Achiever Award of N.A. Harris Foundation, Bangalore. She has presented her papers at many international conferences at Turkey, Istanbul University, and Egypt, trained teachers in Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Hyderabad, Pune, and all over Karnataka. She was the counselor in charge of Karnataka State Counseling Center as an advisor for the Karnataka State Minority Commission 2011-12, and also has designed pilot projects for the Government of India and Government of Karnataka. She is the founder chairperson of the first Rehabilitation Center. She is the first minority woman in India to have started such a unique, challenging program. She designed mobile computer and tailoring training units with the help of Ministry of Labor, which benefits for the minority girls who are denied education for various reasons. Her title is Smiley Girl of the Town. She builds a new dawn in the darkest dusk just with her positive smile. So I welcome positive smiley girl, that is Dr. Rukhsana Hassan on our show. JC Dr. Rukhsana Hassan, you have heard Dr. Thomas Karia, and he has explained all those things which are quite revealing. Although I have done 2-3 conferences earlier, but few things I also learned for the first time through Dr. Thomas. And it's a learning thing. Every time we learn. And you also appeared in one of the show on the drugs, if I remember. So now we would like to know from you your views on drug and crime. JC Dr. Rukhsana Hassan, please.
Thank you. Good morning, one and all. Good morning to all my dear viewers. And a request to the viewers, please, if you are watching this, please watch fully. Because in a half-baked cake will get your stomach upset. This is
excuse me, Dr. Hassan. Can you just come in the center? You are at one side, so they can watch fully. Yes, please.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. And since this is a very sensitive subject, if children are watching, please, parents, accompany them, because we have been telling the kind of drugs which is available, the names of the drugs. Usually what happens, once they listen to the drugs name, they start asking, what is it? And now, the internet is there. So that's one precaution. And thank you, Dr. Thomas. I think being in rehabilitation, I know that whatever cases, whatever he has said, I will not touch on the cases. I will straight away go with drugs and crime. So what is the rate of crime? What is the rate of crime which a drug addict does? This is a $1 million question what each one has to ask. My first research in 2006, 7, 8 in Central Jail, Bangalore, when I entered there, I could see all the inmates. They were about 2,800 males and 400 plus, I don't remember exactly, 400 plus with the females. All I could see in them was a very beautiful emotional personality within. That is where I got correlated. I wanted to know what was behind the crime, whatever they have done. Was it the first time? Was it the second time? Or were they habitual? That is the time I had asked H.T. Ramesh that, I wanted to do this research. And he gave me a blank approval of doing it in every jail across Karnataka. So that is the thing where I understood that I'm so sure Dr. Thomas and if ACP was there, he was the right person to tell because I have done a case with him. That's the reason, I wanted him to come. Not 80%, I can say 90% of the males and 75% of the women were addicts before doing such a crime. So directly if you relate addiction and crime, they come in a straight line. There is no curve and there is no end to mark. They come into a straight line. Because any addict, especially they are into theft, they are into murders, they are into attempt to murders, they are into other things and all, they are straight in line that they are already a co-addict and only then they get into this crime. So next, what is the step taken in the central jail? In any jail across India? Are they been rehabilitated? No, they aren't. So the other side, outside, the lawyer fights for them that whatever crime they have done is not true and it is a false and they come out. Even murders we have seen, they have come out, they have got a bail. Especially, I will not divert my subject. I will straight away go with the drug users and drug peddlers. As Dr. Thomas has already said, every user over a period of time becomes a peddler because of the shortage of money. Before that, he starts, lifting up things within the family, threatening the family, cheating the friend circle, beg, borrow, or steal. Beg, borrow, or steal is there three things what they do before they get into peddling. The moment they get into peddling, they are one fine day caught. After they are caught, what happens? The family runs behind them just to prove the law that their son or daughter is innocent and they were not involved. They come out with a tag on their shoulders stating that what did the law do? What did the police do? There were so many people who, just banged on my face and said, what the hell did you do? What did you try to prove? You did nothing. I have come out of the bail. Now you do whatever you want. I'm just telling in a very fine language, but this was not the language what they have been speaking to me or to the police officers who have arrested them and they come out on bail. So here the question is it the law? Is it the people? Or is it the system? The law is very strong. The law is very, very strong. Then what about the people? The people has to get into the system. As you said that, rehabilitations have been running on their own. Forget about running. Any person who's been running a rehabilitation center, according to the respected human rights, they feel that it is an illegal thing what a rehabilitation is doing. Whereas we can see so many addicts fallen on the roadside, as if it is nobody's business. People watch him up and down. Nobody even cares to give a look or see what has happened. I think each one of us has witnessed that. An alcoholic or a drug addict fallen on the roadside, with good shoes, good trousers, good t-shirt, good jacket, and they have been for nobody. I have been observing this. I will stand in a place, ask together to see at least any one person, goes and wakes him up or goes and tells him why you have fallen. None of them do it. How ignorant are we? Again, it is the people and the system. As Dr. Thomas was telling, drug demand reduction and drug supply. There is no demand for supply at all. Supply is just being like that, and then the demand starts. Now, my question to all those school authorities, every school authorities, there is a very huge board that tobacco and other drugs. Many of the teachers, many of the children are not aware what that board is. So I just innocently, as if I don't know anything, I went to few schools and I was standing there, the teachers were passing. I said, why is this board? I don't know, ma'am, the school authority has put. So is it the people ignorance or is it the system? So these are the things what, forget about the students. I don't have to ask the students about it. The kind of cases what Dr. Thomas was telling, he was telling very simple cases. We have seen the worst of worst cases. Yesterday, what was raided in Delhi. Last week in Bangalore city, there was such a huge raid. What is the next step of the police department? The police have filed a FIR. They have sent it to the court and the lawyers and the party. They keep fighting. They come out. We don't know whether they have been booked under NDPS Act. Under NDPS Act, how have they appealed? What does this law say under the NDPS Act? And what is the lawyer trying to prove to the court? Here, it is the people who have to understand why such a crime has been occurred, why these people have been arrested. I shouldn't be a party to support this. Not that, because I'm a lawyer and the client is going to pay me a big fees, I'm going to fight for a wrong cause. This is what is happening. Here, when we talk about the human rights, why did the human rights come into picture and say that, all the NGOs who are dealing with the rehabilitation of drug addicts, alcoholics, and chemical substance abusers are illegal. Under what law have they come up with a conclusion that they are illegal? Nobody is there to ask. What is the law? What is the policy? Is there any stringent law for the treatment, for the rehabilitation, or if he is or she is a drug addict? There is no law at all. You talk about NDPS Act, even they are restricted only with few drugs where they can have a raid or where they can arrest. Even they are restricted. We have seen children who are just 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, who have been using whitener. Way back in 2008, 9 and 10, I had a big fight with the Waqf minister and with the Waqf principal secretary. I made them understand what is the usage of those bottles. Remember there were 2 bottles before the pen was brought in. It was a huge fight, made them understand the drug is available on the table. The principal secretary, Sanaullah sir, was surprised, and said, is this possible? Sir, please let me give an experiment. I just took my handkerchief and I poured and I just told him, just sniff this and see, sir. Where SSD happens, sudden sniffing death. Nobody is even aware about it. Just for a small virus of corona, the whole world has been fighting. But drug addiction is also there in the whole world, and thousands and lakhs of people have been dying. The beauty of drug addicts they are dependent on drugs. The family is codependent on them. He runs behind the drugs and the family runs behind them. No disease in the world is a family disease, but addiction is a disease of family. No disease is so progressive and dangerous as addiction. Addiction is not an habit at all. Many of the learned officers, they say, oh, Ruxana, it is just an habit. Iska kya itna bada? Main bhi roz pita hoon. Roz peene wali baat alag hai, and the person who is addicted is 2 different variation what we have to understand. Only then we will be able to know the difference between an habit and an addict. Addiction is a severe kind of drug disease that no film actor, no advertisement, no pharmaceutical companies, no government, no police, none of them have taken it seriously as we did for HIV. If you come to Bangalore city, there is a place known Islampur. There is a place known Govindpur, Hegde Nagar, Neel Sandra. I can just name it, but I can just go on. Randomly, I will take the survey department and I'll show them 100 houses. It's randomly you get into 10 houses. 10 out of 10, you can find 1 drug addict over there. The father is a drug addict. The son is a drug addict. The mother is a drug addict. The daughter is a drug addict. Where is the upcoming generation going? In a small 2-tier city, Mangalore, how many schools are aware about this? How many schools want to talk about this? None of them. Whenever I go to any school and say, no, Ruxana, we don't have any such problem. Please let us not talk about it. How much more will each person deny about this problem? We are talking about prevention. Where does this prevention start? Where is the birth of this? Only when I know where is the birth of it, I can go and have in preventive measures. But when they come to a rehabilitation, they only come after becoming full-time chronic addicts. None of the rehabilitations can claim that I can recover this patient who is a drug addict. At least alcoholic, I can say 4 to 5%, yes. Once a drug addict, it is so severe that, a person who's in counselor, Thomas will definitely agree with me, a person as a counselor should become his sponsor and say that just for today, I will not touch. This is the promise what you have to, as a sponsor, you have to be telling the addict, who is having so much of time, which counselor will be so dedicated, which rehabilitation will be supportive. Many rehabilitations have been run by the ex-addicts. The reason for that is they understand the pain, what they have undergone. So for their recovery, they get into addiction, they get into a rehabilitation, and then they get the addiction come together so that they will just form. So there is a huge law of, open holes, open loops for the government to come up. That's the reason on 26th of June this year, I had all the topmost people from the judiciary, from the police department, from NGOs, and the eminent personalities who have been working, got them a conference, and then we have come to a conclusion that we will have a questionnaire. How much is the general public, the people, aware about it? So this is a huge question where we have to say, where does the prevention start? And what is the kind of intervention for that prevention we do? So leaving these questions to the viewers, I end my talk. Thank you.
Thank you very much, JC Dr. Rukhsana Hassan. And today, it seems that both our Dr. Thomas and Dr. Rukhsana has given so many new things, new dimensions, and new facts, which are really very alarming. Dr. Rukhsana says that she has done the study and she has gone to the prisons, and she found that the 90% of the criminals in the male and 70% of the female criminals are drug addicts in one way or the other. And she says that if we will not create things from the family, from the very beginning, and she mentioned that the drug addict, he will first beg, borrow, and then steal. And this is happening. So it is basically a problem of every household where there is even one drug addict. And she says there are localities. She has given the name, although I do not like to repeat those names. They are given the names of Bangalore city, of those localities where she says almost every house is having at least one drug addict. She has also mentioned the schools in Mangalore, where she says there are problems, but no school authority wants to take the responsibility. She also mentioned that the many schools have the boards written on the consumption of alcohol and tobacco is harmful or injurious or whatnot, but nobody bothers. Even the teachers are not bothered. So what we can talk about the students? And she says the system is such today, laws are very powerful, but our system is so poor or so weak that top lawyers or the lawyers and the authorities, the judicial system, and that comes, the convict comes or the accused comes from the bail, and then he again start the drug peddling or the consumption without any fear because of our system. She says, she has raised a very important point, and she says whether it is a pupil ignorance or the failure of the system, we have to understand when everybody knows, so why we are showing ignorance? And she also says that this is nothing what has been caught yesterday in Delhi. She says that last week there was a very big hall even in Bangalore. So all these things, and one very, very important point which she has raised, which many people even ask me, they says we are consuming alcohol or we are eating tobacco. Are we addict or we are habitual or habit? It's a habit or it's just for the pleasure. She says habit and addiction is different. And that is one should understand. And this is a very good thing. One should understand even if you are drinking 1 or 2 packs, and if it is not an addiction, that tomorrow, if you will not get the alcohol, you will be like a mad person. Then it is addiction. So she is very clear, and she says this is a problem. Even she also says that the NGOs, there are no proper laws from the government in the laws, and until those laws are not clear, how does those NGOs who are working day and night, many times, although she has not mentioned, but I can mention many times, those NGOs were blamed to be the drug suppliers, to create more drug addicts. So we don't know what is the real thing. So all these things are going on. So what Dr. Rukhsana Hassan, she has also mentioned very clearly that this is something where everyone has to take full, create a awareness, come in a full way. We are talking of many other disease. We are talking about COVID or HIV, etc. But we are not interested for drug, which is very, very harmful for the entire family. Thank you very much, Dr. Rukhsana Hassan. I will just mention to our viewers, we do not want to scare, but we want to create awareness. Because if we will be able to save one life, our purpose of this media conference is served. Because we know one life saved will be, again, as Dr. Thomas said, MLM system. It will go like this. We want here you use MLM system to create more awareness. You can send one WhatsApp message for de-addiction, don't use the drugs, to your 1 or 2 friends and ask them to circulate it. It will reach to everyone. But we are not interested. We are interested in gossiping, sending jokes, derogatory remarks about women, but we are not interested to do something which is beneficial for the society, for the country, and for themselves and for their children. Thank you very much, Dr. Rukhsana. Now, I would like to invite my next panelist. She is Miss Namita Mishra Pandey. Miss Namita Mishra Pandey is a journalist. She worked in eminent newspapers like Central Chronicle, National Herald, Free Press, The Pioneer, etc. Right now, she is pursuing doctorate in philosophy, that is PhD in mass communication and journalism from Lovely Professional University, Punjab. The broad topic is print journalism and women journalists. She won a gold medal in post-graduation course. Welcome, Ms. Namita, on our show. Ms. Namita Mishra Pandey, you have heard what Dr. Thomas Karia as well as what J. Rukhsana Hassan has mentioned. And they are very, very clear. We understand, at least I understand, that you are a journalist, although you are not in these rehabilitation centers and not. But as a journalist, I always believe, although I am not a journalist, I am you can say, forced by the Global TV's chairman, Mr. Paul, to be on this seat. But I know the journalist is a person who have knowledge of everything, because they see where everyone can't see. Hindi mein, there is a proverb, jahan na pahunche Ravi, wahan pahunche Kavi. Means where the sun is not reaching, there the poet reach. Nowadays, instead of poet, it is the journalist. Where the sun is not reaching, you people are reaching. And I'm sure Dr. Thomas, being a journalist himself, also vouch for me, because journalist work is this. And that's why we are happy to have you here on our program. Now, we want to know your views on drug and crime. Miss Namita Mishra Pandey, please. No, we can't hear you.
First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Lal for giving me this privilege to share this platform with such eminent persons like Anna, who has elaborated about the drug addiction and all these their views about this. I am privileged to be on this platform. So in a very short, I'll finish my drug addiction thing. So in my view, drug addiction is a disease. It is a problem. It is not just a habit. It is a disease. It is a problem that affects a person's brain and behavior. And it not only leads to health problems of an individual, of a family, or whatever it is, but it is the destruction of entire social system. It is the destruction of entire social system, because if an individual is consuming drug, then he is hitting the entire system, entire social system. May it be his wife, the society, may it be his children, or whatever it is. If, like Dr. Rukhsana, she has beautifully said that, like, the youths of nowadays are hitting hard with this problem. I totally agree with Dr. Thomas and Dr. Rukhsana about their views, and like and I agree with them. The most affected people due to drug addiction are marginalized groups, people, the youth, of course, the women, and the poor people. Societies are struggling hard to cope up with this grim situation. The entire population of world is like nearly 8 billion, and out of that, 275 million are drug addicted people, and 30 million are like the 30 millions are those who are like the nearby of those 275 million people, and they are somehow directly or indirectly affected by this disease, as we call it, or a problem. In India, we see that there are like 136.64 crore population, and out of that, 62.5 million people are addicted with alcohol. All these are like, as Dr. Thomas has highlighted, Mr. Goel has highlighted, that all these people are, all these alcohol, cannabis, opiates, sedatives, these all are drugs, types of legal or illegal drugs. So like 62.5 million people are addicted with alcohol, 8.75 million people are addicted with cannabis, 2 billion people are addicted with opiates, and 0.6 million are taking sedatives. So this is according to the UNODC report. If we talk about the whole world, then like Mongolia, United Kingdom, Kazakhstan, these are some of the countries which is highly affected with the effect of this drug disease, drug problem. As Mr. Lal has said, that China was way back in 80s, it was an opium country. It was called an opium countries, but now it is like we all know, as it is like crystal clear that China is developing in all the spheres. Not only like it is not only we cannot count it on the level of like population only. It is developing. We people have like many things from exported and imported from China. So it is like developing country. I want to highlight the reasons behind this drug addiction. These are like it is a vicious circle. Like everything is correlated with each other. Like population is the biggest thing which I think is doing harm to our nation. Like it is unemployment is of course one of the other reasons why drug addiction is increasing in our country. Then due to population and unemployment, poverty is increasing. People are like this is why the people are coming into the addiction of drug. Then lack of checks, of course, the government is not able to keep checks on each and every individual of the country, and so like the policies and harsh punishment is not there, policies is lacking. This is why there are problems of drug addiction. There are preventive measures, like Dr. Ruxana has said, that preventive measures are there. I will also highlight those measures, like what are the preventive measures which we can take to like cope up with this problem. First of all, of course, we have to, prevention is better than cure, as said by Dr. Thomas, this prevention is better than cure. So it is our need. We have to eradicate this drug addiction. So what we have to do, we have to eradicate it from the grassroots level. Means from the root level we have to eradicate it. And from if we have to want to eradicate it from the root level, then we have to give proper education, proper learning to our children. We have to give them proper training. We have to like we have to set the proper rules for them, that whatever is like essential, whatever discipline and all, we have to teach to our little students. So parental monitoring and supervision is important, what I think, to curb this menace from the root level. Then we, of course, the parents has to provide support to their children, because if the children is not getting the support, then they search for outsiders. They go out and they do whatever they want to do, because they are like in a depression. They want something good in their life, and in that case they start taking drugs and all that, alcohols and other things. So this is like where we are lacking. The family is lacking. The family has to keep check on the parents has to keep check on their children, so that the children must not do like bad activities. They must not involve with bad people. So this is of course a need of an hour, that we have to provide support to our children, to our little children. We have to give values, the moral values and the all good things to our children we have to give. We have to set a good example in front of children. If the parent is not consuming, as Dr. Ruxana has said, that there are families in Mangalore where the father is taking drug, the daughter is taking drug, the son, the mother, everyone is involved in that. So what we have to do, we have to set a good example. As being a mother, if I will not take a drug, how can my child be in that habit? So it is my duty, it is our duty, the duty of the parent to set a good example in front of their children, so that they will be be away from these bad activities. So family-based prevention is there. Then school-based prevention, of course, as Dr. Ruxana has said, that school must also put checks on the children. They must tell their students that what is wrong, what is right. It is not only the duty of the parents, of course, the school teachers, the faculties, the administration, all is important for the children to make their values clear, that what is important in life, what should be your ambition, how should you would have to improve in your life, rather than giving the lectures on the syllabus and this and that. I don't believe that syllabus is like everything. The specified syllabus is not everything. We have to give moral values to our children. We have to make them aware that what is good and what is bad, how you will become a good citizen, what is the need of an hour, and what should be the things you should do in your life so as to become a good citizen of India. Then, of course, community prevention programs are there. Raising public awareness is important. Like in India, so many people are uneducated. They don't know anything about drug addictions. They don't know anything about the NDPS Act and these big things. They don't know what is like NDPS Act, what government is doing for them, what is drug. Even they are not aware, as Mr. Lal has said, that there are people who are not aware about marijuana and all that things, and they are start using it, eating it with candies and all that things. So it is our duty, it is again our duty to make them aware, to make the people aware about what is happening, what you have to take, what not. Of course, I want to make myself very clear here that सरकार बहुत कुछ नहीं कर सकती है, बहुत कुछ सरकार बहुत कुछ कर सकती है, लेकिन सब कुछ नहीं कर सकती है, सब कुछ नहीं कर सकती. वो आपके घर आके प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी will not say कि नहीं, you have to do this, not this, you have to sit like this, you have to stand like this. It is not the duty of Mr. Modi and it is not the duty of the government. ये हमारा खुद अपना हमारी ड्यूटी है कि हम अपने घर को कैसे बना के चलें, how we will give good moral values to our children and like this. So ये हमारी ड्यूटी है. तो हमें ये ध्यान रखना चाहिए that we have to be very cautious about what we are doing, so that coming generation will be aware about the things what they have to do. We have as I told you about Narendra Modi, I am very a great admirer of Mr. Narendra Modi. So I would like to highlight his wordings, what he said in the on 26th of June, the National Drug Abuse Day. He said that it is not cool to have this drugs. It is not a cool thing. It does not show your style statement. The taking drugs and consuming drugs is not a style statement. Rather, you should be a good citizen and give importance to your life, because life is very important. And he also says that every effort we are doing to save lives is vital. Whatever Mr. Lal is doing, whatever the eminent personalities are doing, I said that yes, every single effort is vital for the country. But maybe these media conferences and media seminars will be fruitful to the nation, and they will be doing good things in future. So one more research has come out, and it is related to the pandemic. What the research said, that border and other restrictions caused shortage of drugs. It is during the pandemic, the border and other restrictions, there were restrictions from border to border. The people were not free to move here and there. So this is why the drugs was consolidated on one place, and there was shortage of drugs on the streets. It leads to the increased prices and reduced purity. And this is why, because the purity has reduced and the prices has increased. So the people have started consuming it more. So somewhere this pandemic has also created a big menace to the country, and this is why we have lost many of the things. So this is all what I can say for this right now. I'm very
Thanks.
thankful to Mr. Lal once again for giving me the opportunity, and to all the persons who are involved in this. Thank you so much, Mr. Lal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Namita Mishra Pandey, for giving your views. And what she has said, she has taken a very different view, because our two panelists are eminent people who are basically for the rehabilitation, de-addiction. But she has seen the view from the society point of view, as a mother, as a citizen. And she says, if she wanted to highlight how we can do the prevention. And she says the lack of checking is lack of check is there, whether it is in the whether it's on the front of the parent side or from the school side. So unless we will not have that parental check, where the parents will give more time to the children, as well as the schools give more attention and see to it that they should be treated, the child should be, if any problems, child should be cleared, and they should be taught about the bad effects of the drugs in the school. And she said the eradication should be done from the grassroots level. We should not wait till the person become addict. And she is very, very clear. She mentioned about that the prevention is better than cure, and she agrees what Dr. Thomas and Dr. Ruxana has mentioned. Although I can just tell our viewers, Miss Namita Mishra Pandey, when I approached to her, she was having some apprehension whether I will be able to speak on this topic. And when I said this is a topic which touches every family, and being a mother, you should think of all the children. At that time, she decided to join, and what views she has given, really, it's a very, very and very to the point views which we expect from a good panelist. And I'm sure I can very well say that you will be a very good panelist even in our future media conference. Thank you very much, Ms. Namita Mishra Pandey, for giving your views. Now, I would like to ask questions. I will allot about 2 minutes to each of you, because the time is. Dr. Thomas, you mentioned about alcohol and tobacco, and you also mentioned that because of the consumption of alcohol, domestic violence, but Dr. Thomas, you have visited many countries. You have seen their countries. There are no domestic violence in other countries while they consume more alcohol percentage-wise than India. Why? One. Number two, if it is like this, then why not government of India is banning alcohol and tobacco, or government wants to mint money? That's why even after the this lockdown, the first thing they opened is the Daru Kadda, the alcohol shop. What you say about this, Dr. Thomas? 2 minutes, please. Please unmute. Please unmute.
Okay, yeah. First of all, I don't think that we can expect the government to stop distributing alcohol and tobacco, mainly because most of the governments survive with that money. Many governments, I think second more income earning business is that. So we don't expect that they would stop it, whatever we say, it will continue. And then about the link between domestic violence in our country and in other countries, it all depends upon the social acceptance we give it to the drugs. Like, in some of the countries, especially Arab countries, like where I work, like even Iran also I visited, so their alcohol is not accepted. Like, it has no social acceptance because of the religious point of view. But whereas when that is not there, the drugs comes up also. Like some sort of a mind-altering thing is always, it is a part of our culture in many countries, either alcohol or something else. So that is always there. And then violence with the alcohol may be less there because of the, in some of the country, even in Indonesia, it's a Muslim country, but wherever things are little liberalized, I have seen violence is also less. Wherever things are very much, like try to put it as an anti-social sort of a thing, people develop negative emotions along with that also, and it comes out as a violence also. Like even in India, if you see like Goa, if you go, people have a different approach to alcohol sometimes, comparing to Kerala or even other places like. So those places, I think the violence is relatively lesser than where we make so much of conservatism about that. It's just my observation. I don't know. It's not supported by any sort of
Yes.
a search, but this is what I feel. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Thomas. Although we are not promoting the alcohol, but one should understand how much, if anybody wants to drink alcohol, he should be drink in a limit, and it should not be a liability or create any nuisance for the others, and it should not become addiction or even the habit. It should not be habit. Occasionally, yes. Now, my question goes to Dr. Rukhsana. Dr. Rukhsana, Ms. Namita has raised a very important point about the school moral education. Do you think our education system lack moral education? If you recall, earlier time, the moral science used to be taught in the schools, but no moral science has been taught, no subject is there in the higher education. And this is why the problems are happening. Do you think education system, even in the National Education Policy 2020, nowhere it is mentioned about the moral education? Do you think we should have a moral education compulsory, even whether you are in biology or geology or criminal, anything, you have to learn the moral thing, because until as we are not morally up, we cannot control this menace. What do you say about this, Dr. Rukhsana?
Yes. It's a very, very important subject to have, moral science, because whatever we teach the child at home, they don't learn it with so much of passion. But whatever we teach as a teacher, if I teach a student, he remembers, she goes home and tells. For example, my granddaughter who's 7 years, if I tell her one thing, she'll say, no, Ma, my teacher taught me this. So that is the reason I say that, moral education, moral science as a subject is very much important. Those days we had 2 days. I remember very well, the last period of Wednesday and the last period of Friday. These were because Saturday, Sunday was a holiday for us. And they give us one particular subject to do this. So that was very important. Now, coming back to the schools and education about drugs, moral science, yes. But what about addiction? As Namita has said, that our Honorable Prime Minister said, be cool. But how will we be cool when the particular thing is in front of me and tempting? The law should be so strict, as they say, agar helmet pen kar nahi gaya, to 500 rupees fine. License nahi pakad gaya. Something like that has to come up from the government side. Otherwise, whatever we NGOs do, whatever we journalists do, that's not going to happen. Please remember that addiction is not an willpower, but it is an ill power. Okay. W-I-L-L and I-L-L. The W in ill is missing. That is the wisdom. Oh. So please don't tell them to be,
okay,
hugs, but not drugs.
Okay. Thank you, JC, Dr. Rukhsana Hassan. Now my question goes to Ms. Namita. Ms. Namita, you praised our Honorable Prime Minister. Very nice. But do you think this, without the support of big wigs, this drugs can come to India? And the ministry, we have a very jumbo ministry now recently. How many criminals are there in the ministry? How many charges are there? Serious charges. I'm not talking about small charges. How you can stop the drug if the top people are criminals or they are having booked in the criminal activities, and if they are not clean, and you preach to the others, be clean. First, you have to clean from the top, then the things can be clean. What you say about this, Ms. Namita? 1 minute only for you.
Okay, sir. As I said that whatever we have to stop from the very beginning. I respect the ideas and thoughts of Dr. Rukhsana and of course Mr. Lal. आप दोनों ने बिल्कुल सही बात कही है कि पहले बिग विग्स को ठीक करना जरूरी है. सर, मेरा आइडिया बिल्कुल उल्टा है. मैं सोचती हूँ कि ग्रास रूट को ठीक करना जरूरी है सर, क्योंकि अगर प्लांट, इफ वी टॉक अबाउट द पार्ट्स ऑफ द प्लांट, बॉडी ऑफ द प्लांट, अगर रूट ही ठीक नहीं होगी तो हाउ द प्लांट विल गिव फ्लावर टू अस. So मेरा व्यू है सर, इट इज माय पर्सनल व्यू दैट द यंगर जनरेशन हैज टू बी लाइक गुड इनफ. ओके, हार्श पनिशमेंट्स होने चाहिए, लॉज होने चाहिए, बहुत अच्छी बात है, सब कुछ होना चाहिए, लेकिन सर ये हमारी ड्यूटी है, हमारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि हमारे बच्चे पहले अच्छे हो. इफ आई वेक अप इन द मॉर्निंग एंड आई टेक अ ग्लास ऑफ दैट दारू जिसे आप लोग बोलते हैं, मैं लेके बैठ जाऊं और पीना शुरू कर दूं, तो माय चिल्ड्रन विल आल्सो डू द सेम. मेरी बेटी है बात वो भी करेगी. बट सॉरी फॉर इंटरप्शन सर, अगर मैं इफ आई डू पूजा इन द मॉर्निंग, देन माय चाइल्ड विल आल्सो डू द सेम. है ना सर? तो it is from the family only. ये family से आता है सर.
Okay. Thank you. You have confirmed my point of view, because I also said that the big wigs, the top pupil have to be clear first. Family head is like a big wig. For family head, the leaders are big wig. Whether if you are not wearing mask in Kumbh Mela or you are not wearing mask during the election rally, the same thing if anybody is doing to in Manali or Shimla or this thing, how you can stop them? They can say that when our leaders are doing this, we are also following. So you are right. All the top, whether the family head or the nation head, all have to follow the things which all the younger generation should follow. Thank you very much, Ms. Namita, and thank you all. Today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon se, Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, as well as first shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And our endeavor is to bring to you every day new topic. But in the evening, we are also doing a program called Kal Aaj or Kal Lal Goel Ke Sang at 4:30 p.m. every day. That is again a live telecast. There we are calling one personality and we just take his or her life journey. So basically his or her autobiography from their mouth only in half an hour. And today's, being a Sunday, we want to make it lighter because today's morning topic is very heavy with drug and crime. So my chief guest is Mr. Lakshman Kharia. He's a member of Juhu Laughter Club, Mumbai. So please do join and have some laughing moments in the evening. So tune in for Kal Aaj or Kal Lal Goel Ke Sang at 4:30 p.m. today. Thank you very much, Dr. Thomas Kharia. Thank you very much, JC, Dr. Ruxana Sen. And thank you very much, Ms. Namita Mishra Pandey, for joining and giving very, very enlightening views of yours. And thank you all the viewers for joining our show. Thank you very much.